Hello Internet, I'm me, and this is Tokumei Sentai Go Busters! Episode... I'll put it in the title. This episode is so much better than the last episode. I'm serious. This episode actually picks up kind of where the Christmas episode left off, almost ignoring the New Year's episode completely, which is a good thing. You see, now that the Christmas episode is over, where they destroyed Messiah, Enter, and Escape, and all the other Messiah cards except for one Messiah card, number 13, the Go Busters are seeing that their battle is actually starting to come to an end. And as such, Ryuji has been trying to plan out Yoko's future, actually trying to get her studying for entrance exams for high schools, picking out different high schools for her, trying to get her to study a lot more, and trying to get her into the actual, mentality of going back to a normal life. But Yoko is actually not even ready for that kind of stuff yet, and actually kind of just sees Ryuji as being a really annoying person. And which actually brings Ryuji down, mostly because through all this time, for these 13 years that they've all been together, Ryuji has actually been taking care of Yoko as a big brother. And she's always been needing him to help her out, to make sure she doesn't, hurt herself, or when she gets a skinned knee, to put a band-aid on it. So when Ryuji is actually being confronted by not only that the battles are ending, but Yoko doesn't need him as much anymore, it actually takes a huge toll out of his mind and sends him into a very depressing state. And I actually really do like this character development. Very few times do we actually have a Sentai team where they're only there because of the villain. Literally, like, the villain is the reason the Go Busters are even there fighting. It shapes their lives, it trained them, it made them who they were, and now they're about to end it all. What do you do from there? And of course, after this, they get an intron warning, and abnormality warning to break up the tension and throw them into even more tension. And so they go out and go see what happens, because something's up. There's not a Megazord coming in, and the Metoroid, or what they assume is going to be a Metoroid, is actually being formed way out in the wilderness, away from any technology or artificial components, only nature. So they're quite confused, but then, out of nowhere, Enter and Escape have come back. Enter with a new, oldish haircut and has that Intron pack that he usually had with him from like near the beginning of the series until he moved on to that laptop and the cards and whatever. And Escape is with him. Except for Escape is a bit different. Escape is talking to Ryuji almost as if they first met. Back when they first met, when Ryuji was challenging her and she was challenging him, going, "Come on, let's see a fight, man. Give me a good entertainment." And she has flowers in her hair. And when Escape goes into her second form, she actually has flower motifs all over her. And also she has a flamethrower, which is pretty sweet. So, Ryuji and Escape start fighting off with each other. Yoko is fighting off henchmen, and Hiromu and Enter actually start fighting each other, and pretty much everybody's preoccupied. Escape and Ryuji actually move off to another area to fight, an awesome fight on the bridge. I'm serious. The stuntman they even did a stunt where Ryuji's grabs one of the cables of the bridge and whirls around it. Do you know how much balls it takes to do that? Imagine the stuntman doing that. If he had fucked up that stunt, which is very easy to do, even though it seems quite simple, if you had fucked up that stunt, he would have fallen off of a fucking bridge. I have props for that stunt. That just one stunt, and that stunt man, I have a lot of props for that guy. But the fight on the bridge is pretty cool. But as they move away from Hiromu and the rest of them, Yoko takes care of the henchmen and follows after Ryuji and Escape. And Escape, using the new flamethrower that she has acquired, has actually forced Ryuji into overheating so that she can get more of a challenge out of him. And after them fighting, they destroy the bridge, or part of it, and actually fall into the water. Ryuji and Escape being washed away. Yoko is actually very concerned about this and is actually starting to really freak out and try to find Ryuji as quickly as possible. While Hiromu is fighting Enter and actually combines with Nick and actually and uses the volcanic attack almost immediately to take him down. But Enter not only survives the volcanic attack, but puts the sword up to Ryuji Haruto's neck, and actually going away afterwards, taunting them really about how he could have just destroyed them, but he has something else up his sleeve. What is it? No idea. But it does keep Nick and Haruto really guessing about what's going to happen next. So, with Enter gone, Escape missing, along with Ryuji, Yoko, Jin, and Haruto all go out to go find him. But he actually demorphed, so his morphing bracer can't be tracked, and something's blocking the signal. But if he calls, then they could reacquire the signal and go back in. Ryuji wakes up on a beach, washed up, with Escape. Now taunting him for a second round of fighting, and setting ablaze the flower in her hair and poking it against his face to make him overheat once again. And so Ryuji starts fighting Escape in another really good fight scene with him overheating and being a brutal badass where he's doing like suplex and boom. And, oh god, this episode was awesome, especially the fight scenes and character development. Jesus. And of course, Escape is fighting, and because Ryuji Henshin, everybody figures out where he is and sends everybody after him. Now, Ryuji keeps fighting until he goes, hyper mode, tries to fight again, but then overheats in his hyper mode with, man, there's a lot of stuff happening in this episode. But they fight. God damn it, there's a lot of fighting in this episode. And, of course, oh man, what's the gorilla's name? I forgot his name. But the gorilla gets knocked out of Ryuji, and while Ryuji is down, the gorilla, in a really good character moment, tries to protect Ryuji from Escape. And Escape shoots him, and that made me kind of sad. I don't know why, but he's such a gentle gorilla. It's like, ever seeing him getting hurt is like, no! It's just like, I don't know why. It's just like, dude, you don't hurt him. He's like the cool guy that you just don't do that to. That's just, no. But, he gets hurt. And, of course, Escape is ready to blast Ryuji with another fire blast to make him overheat even more, but Hiromu actually comes in with Nick's combining powers and the super speed to catch him and then spring him to safety as Yoko actually tries to snap Ryuji out of it and get him to cool down. So, Escape and Haruto are actually fighting together. I am so sorry about flubbing up all the names and being like tongue-tied with all this review. I'm so sorry about that. Haruto and Escape actually really start fighting and then bring the fight over someplace else, while Yoko and Ryuji and the gorilla, I don't know his name still, all try to get Ryuji to stop. And then we have a very nice flashback moment of, Yoko and Ryuji's relationship throughout their lives. From when she was a little girl, to when she was growing up, to when she got out of middle school, to even when the first episode aired, where it showed, which I almost didn't notice, it started out with Ryuji and Yoko. It didn't have Haruto yet, or Haruto wasn't there yet. And they were always together as brother and sister, pretty much fighting this entire time, making sure each other were okay. Which was a really good moment. It was a really, really good moment. And of course, Yoko dive bombs Ryuji, knocking him into the water, cooling him off, but he is heavily damaged and he can't fight as much anymore. So Yoko and back with Escape. Escape is giving Haruto and Nick a pretty hard time in a fight, but then Jin and Jay come in and start kicking ass with him in another great fight scene with a badass boost up for Buster's moment. It was just, oh god, these fight scenes are good this week, just really fucking good. And of course, Yoko comes in with the Lion Blaster and finishes off Escape once and for well, not once and for all, but she finishes off Escape. In which Enter comes in and then takes a stag beetle, which is Jay's pet stag beetle, and fuses it with with the metal of a fence, and uses the stag beetle, puts them together, and makes a new Metaloid. Because now Enter is the new Messiah. Because Escape keeps calling Enter Papa Enter, which is kind of weird, but it's okay. and actually, because he has another flower, Enter also makes another Escape. So Enter is now the new Messiah, and we have Ryuji out of commission because he's overheated so much that his body is worn down. Jin and Jay and Yoko and Haruto are the only ones left, and now they have another Escape who's probably a bit stronger this time, and a new stag robot. What will happen in the next episode? I have no idea, but damn, this one was good. This was an action-packed episode with really good fight scenes. The writing was solid, brought up some really good issues with these characters and how they would deal with it, and showed a lot of things that actually harkened back to the beginning of the season. I really liked this episode. Hell, both episodes of this and Kamen Rider Wizard, right after my last review, started kicking ass and taking names. And I can't wait to see how this ends. But if it ends anything like it's being built up, it will kick some serious ass. So until next time, y'all, peace.